Usyk isn't fighting again for 7 months. That means Joseph Parker is not going to fight for a year? Is that what you're going to do? It really should be Joseph Parker versus Caballero right now, and the winner fights Usyk in 7 months.
Okay.
I don't know if Joseph Parker is going to sit it out for 7 months. He shouldn't. And I think Andy Lee would agree with me when he comes on. Joseph Parker needs to have a fight because the best Joseph Parker is a busy and active Joseph Parker, not one that sits on the fence for a year.
Well, let us ask the great Andy Lee this very question, the former WBO middleweight champion, the one and only Andy Lee, who I would, and you set that up great. Thank you, Andy. I don't even know if you knew that he was standing by.
No, I didn't. No.
I want to call you. You're in the running, my friend, for Trainer of the Year. What you have done, I think we need to get a good title for you, like the Reclamation Project Master. What you have done to revive careers, and I know you probably don't want to say that because you're working with such great fighters, but the work that you have done with Joseph Parker, with Ben Whitaker as of late, with Hamza Shiraz, congratulations, has been nothing short of amazing. So first, congratulations on all the success as of late, and thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be here. Those guys, Joe really started it all, the ball rolling, but I think as a coach, I will be judged on the progress and the career of Paddy Donovan because he was the one who started it all. I took him as an amateur in 2019, and now we're on the cusp of fighting for the world title. So, and he's still only 26, so there's plenty more big things to come for him.
Yes, and that's a massive one coming up in September. But I would love for you to respond to what Ade just said. Do you agree with his assessment regarding your guy Joe? Should he fight the likes of Caballero as opposed to waiting for Usyk?
It's interesting to see what will happen now and what the position or how this all plays out, really, and what Usyk decides to do. Like you said, he's probably 7 months away from fighting. Joe hasn't fought since February. He needs a fight, Joseph. He's like Adi said, when he's active, he's at his best. But who is the opponent? Fighting Caballero, they're both great fighters. It's a huge risk for both of them because of the positions they're in. Caballero number 1 with WBC, Joe mandatory with the WBO. And all these guys are, in positions. Chisora's in position with the IBF. So there's huge risks in taking a fight like that at this stage when you could be next in line for a title fight. Now, whether Usyk vacates and he fights somebody, the next best challenger, or Usyk decides to fight Joseph, which would be admirable, which he doesn't have to do probably because his legacy is secured. He's done basically everything in boxing. And if he was to retire tomorrow, or what could happen, which has been muted, that he was going to have the Dubois fight and then he was going to have a celebrity fight, like crossover fight with an ex-MMA or something like that, which for me wouldn't be nice because I think it would cheapen his legacy in some way. But as Adi said, pounds and pence and dollars are what count in this game.
Andy, have you spoken, or has Spencer Brown or Frank spoken to you? Because to be fair to Frank, I've spoken to Frank twice since the fight, and he does always say, it's Joseph Parker next. It's Joseph Parker next. And he says it with a bit of force as well, as though he's promised you guys that you will be next in line. Has there been a conversation with Frank as to what happens with Joseph? Because I almost feel sorry for Joseph now. It's got to the stage where every time I see Joseph, I'm like, okay, look, when are you going to fight? When are you going to fight? And he has this face of, I don't know. And it's upsetting for me as well just to see him on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's very frustrating for him and for us as a team, but I had a brief conversation with Frank Warren as we were walking back from the ring. I said, it has to be Joe. And he said, we're going to push for Joseph. And Spencer Brown, he said, we're going to push for Joseph. David Higgins, we're going to push for Joseph. But you can't force Usyk to fight anybody. You can't force anyone to fight anybody. The will has to be on Usyk's side. The will for Joe is there. He'd fight anybody. And as he's shown, but the will has to be and the want has to be on Usyk's team.
Put your fighter hat on for me if you can, Andy, again. I mean, I saw, it's funny because the video of Dubois getting knocked out, there's you and Joe in the background, and I can see both of your reactions. When you're watching that, I mean, again, you've seen some of the best heavyweights in the world. You've been in camp with some of the best heavyweights in the world. When you're watching that, are you watching it like myself and thinking, okay, this is an all-time great you're seeing?
First and foremost, I watched it as a fan and I enjoyed the fight. And I thought Dubois started really well. But there's something about Usyk, isn't it? And just this change after round one, round two, Dubois was having some success, landing right hands. And there was just a change. Something inside him, you could see you could see it in his posture in the ring and how he started to stand more and hold his feet more and decided to try and back Dubois up and eventually doing it and setting traps and then letting Dubois fall short and countering him. And he created an insecurity in Dubois. You can see, just step back, counter, and Dubois didn't feel comfortable punching anymore because every time he did, Usyk wasn't there and he was getting countered with something. Something was catching him on either side of the temple or on the chin. And it was just a masterclass, and it was just so enjoyable to watch from a fan's point of view, and how he just did it, just how he just turned it around. It was there's something in him, He stood up after the second, and he did it. He's done it when AJ had that good round in the second fight, and he did it with Tyson when Tyson had a good round. He stood up and he blessed himself two times, and the fight changed. So it's the mark of the man. When I saw that happen, I said, "Oh, here we go." And it was just like, if you're in the opposite corner and you see that happen, okay, switch on because here he comes.
It's wonderful to watch. It really does feel like we are watching a genius at work. A story has emerged in the aftermath of the fight, and I don't want you to necessarily talk about other people's business, but you have been in this game a very long time, and I'd just love to get your 2 cents on this Daniel Dubois pre-fight party story that has come out. When you saw this, when you heard about this, being in the fight game, as great as you were as a fighter and now as a trainer, what do you make of all of this? And do you think any of that had anything to do with the performance?
I remember listening to Daniel Dubois on a podcast, and he as I was studying for Joseph Parker, the first rule of war is know your enemy. So when we were getting ready to fight him with Joseph Parker, I was watching everything I could find, any interview and all fights and everything. And he said in the interview that he did it for the Joshua fight, which has been publicized, and he got this energy. He created this energy, and he carried that to the stadium, and he carried it to the dressing room, and he carried it into the ring. And they've tried to do it again. And when I was thinking about it now, from his dad's and team's point of view, it could be distraction. People can lose their nerve in the dressing room. People can lose the fight can be won and lost from the walk. From the day of the fight is probably the longest day of your life. It just drags and drags and drags sometimes, especially when you're in a big fight like that and there's so much pressure. And I think it could have just been a bit of this. I don't know, just looking at it from a different angle, that they were trying to keep him occupied, keep his mind occupied, that he's not thinking about the fight, that he's interacting with other people who are not necessarily involved. They're going to ask him or talk about the fight. He's just giving him some positive feedback. And he just, all of a sudden, he's in the dressing room, his hands are wrapped, and out he goes to the fight. That's my take. It could be that. I might be wrong. But it worked for AJ. It didn't work this time. And when fights go wrong, you're open to criticism. And in this day and age, everything is analysed. Like when Tyson lost to Usyk the first time, myself, Sugar Hill, John Fury in the corner, we got it alive, But when Daniel won his fight, no one talked about the 3 or 4 voice in the corner. Now everyone's talking about it. So I think, I don't think it's much. I think it's just their process. Everyone is different. And, but when you lose, you're open to criticism, or people feel they have the right to criticize you, but they don't know your process. They don't know what's behind it. And I would just say, if that worked for him before, they tried to do it again, and it didn't work this time. But it's nothing got to do with that. It's just got to do with who he was in the ring with.
I appreciate that perspective. I also love the idea of you listening to any Daniel Dubois interview, any sort of video, any sort of content that you could get your hands on, speaks to just how brilliant you are. And so you have probably thought for a moment or two about Parker versus Usyk. Can you put that hat back on and tell us, you're not going to give us the game plan, I know, but how does Joseph Parker pull this off? If in fact he gets the shot, and we all hope and pray he does, What's the key to beating Usyk?
You have to. Why Joe's been so successful? My fighters have so much success in the last while is because we in the gym we iron out all the breaks. Fighters take breaks in fights, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. They switch off. Then there's telltale signs, and your opponent will instinctively pick up on it, and you will be attacked. So what we work on in the gym is being ready at all time and being your body language in the ring, and keeping your feet in a position where you're always ready to punch. And if you are resting, if you are taking a break, that you don't show it, that you look as if you're ready to attack and you're ready to punch. And that's basically what we do, and that's what Usyk does. Usyk feeds off his opponent's breaks. When they look to take that little switch, he'll attack them. He can pressure, feint with his magic wand right hand, and he just burns them up. They're mentally exhausted as much as physically. And then when he wants to rest, he can move and dip and dive and go under the big guy's punches. Joe is a similar size to him, can fight at a similar pace, is a crafty, clever boxer, Joseph. People don't realize how clever he is and how he can adjust. And we won't be taking breaks, and we'll just have to match him. I just love the fight. I think technically it's a great fight. From two really good heavyweight boxers. One of them an all-time great, and Joseph a Hall of Famer, and possibly an all-time great if he got the win over Usyk. And the thing is, you have to match his pace, and that's mentally as much as physical.
I sincerely hope that you get the opportunity, Andy. And I think I speak for Ariel as well. Ariel's been the biggest cheerleader for Joseph Parker I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you guys so much.
It's
and
incredible.
Also, thank you for the backing of Paddy Donovan after the first fight with Lewis Crocker. You've been a great champion for the Lee's boxing team. And and this is the biggest show, so we're really grateful for that.
All right, let's move on to another one of your charges. And I think maybe, Andy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe your biggest win as a trainer, Hamza Shiraz. Obviously, look, you had him for one camp. He's going to America, backs against the wall. He's in there against an arrogant, loud American in his home turf, and he stops him. And I remember just looking at you in the corner when that stoppage happened, and you don't normally scream and shout, but you almost turned into Eddie Hearn jumping over the top rope there. I think the biggest win. But then the nonsense that's came out of some mouths in America about hand wraps, and it's just annoyed me. And I know you've responded to a couple of people, but this is the New York State Athletic Commission, the toughest commission in the world. When you hear that rubbish, does it annoy you? Because again, your charge has the biggest win of his career, and then you got some people who know nothing about boxing talking about hand wraps.
To be honest with you, I shouldn't have dignified it with a reply, but
yeah.
As Hamza said, it's a compliment. It's a backhanded compliment, because I was telling people how hard this guy hits. It was shocking. It's like literally, I'm doing pads for everybody, and we're hitting it with the left hand. It's just wow. It's like all I can say is it's shocking. It hits the pad, and it's jarring your elbow every day. And like I was coming home from training every night, my forearms would just be throbbing, just like pulsating. And it was like it got to the point where I was looking forward to the sparring days, so I wouldn't have to hit the pad. But he can punch, Hamza, and very mentally very strong, very very determined, very very focused on his work, and just a great student and a lovely person. So, and I can say that about all the guys I trained. So I'm very fortunate. Listen, it's an easy job when you've got the best fighters, isn't it? When you've got the best fighters, it's an easy job, and they deserve the credit.
What's it like now, Andy? Because you are building, and I tweeted about this, I think it's an incredible stable, and I think everyone's making improvements immediately. I think Ben looked so different last time round as well. Big performance from him. Again, backs against the wall. Hamza backs against the wall. Joseph, when he came to, backs against the wall. I mean, are you still taking applications? I mean, is there any more room in the Andy Lee camp, or is that it? The door's shut for now?
It's like I'm at capacity. There's some good, like I would love to be able to give more people time, but the reason maybe it's another reason I'm successful is that there's only there's the 4 fighters, and it's not a conveyor belt of guys coming into the gym. I'm with one guy, and I'm with him for the whole day. And I've been very fortunate with the timing of the camps that there's not been too much of a clash yet. Some of them will go together, some of them won't go together, but quality over quantity. And you could not, like, for the best, nicest people I've ever met, and for the most talented fighters you would ever hope to get as well. And yeah, very, very fortunate. When you have somebody like, like Whitaker, all that talent, it's there's no ceiling for him. How far he can go, it's completely in his hands. And all you got to do is guide somebody like that. Just steer them in the right way, and just watch them. Like, put a little bit of discipline, a little bit of structure to it, and the talent and the ability just comes out. And Ben Whitaker is just, it's scary. And I'm just sitting there, and you know what? Like, what I have with these guys, with Hamza, Paddy, Joseph, and Ben, is like, when they can come back to the corner after sparring in the round, you say, and you don't have to say a thing to them. You say, I don't have to tell you a thing. Well done. Keep doing it. Don't get bored. Just give them a bit of water. That's the best. That's the best. Like, they're just doing so. They're just so well drilled, and they know the game. They know what they're doing, and they come back to the corner, and you just say, I can't say a word to you.
What a stable.
That's the best feeling as a coach.
And as you said, 4 very easy to root for guys. In my opinion, a very easy root for trainer as well. Can I ask, there's a great debate regarding what Hamza should do next, which direction. Should he wait for Canelo? Should he not? What would you like to see him do?
Hamza's stock is probably as high as it's ever going to be. If he knocked out somebody else, would it get any higher? Now, he does probably, in the ideal world, we would like another fight together and another camp together. But we can do that without a fight. We can do that without the wear and tear of a fight. When you've got a fight like Canelo in the offering, the potential. Listen, Canelo's fighting Crawford. He's an absolute legend of the game. He's the best fighter of this generation. But to get the chance to fight him for Hamza, it's just phenomenal. And for me as a coach, it'd be an amazing challenge. So I'm not sure what we'll discuss it as a team. But first and foremost, I think we got to wait for after the fight in September between Crawford and Canelo.
In conclusion, Andy, was this all part of the plan for you? You don't need me to tell you this, but the late great Emmanuel Stewart would be very proud of what you're doing right now, and you are carrying the torch for him and the team over at Kronk Gym. Was this the plan for you? Did you always want to be a trainer for champions, or did you kind of fall into this post-fighting?
Yeah, when you retire from boxing, no matter how you distract yourself, there's always going to be a vacuum and a hole, and you'll fall into it very easily. And after a certain period of time, nothing can satisfy it. Nothing can match it. Nothing can match it. And whatever, by plan, by design, or by no plan or design, I just saw Paddy Donovan fighting in the National Stadium, and I looked at him. I said, "Wow, this kid is unbelievably talented." And if there's ever going to be a young lad to turn pro and go with, it was him, because he's similar background to myself, similar from the same city as myself. And I thought, wow, what a talent. And then one thing led to another. But like, unknowingly, I probably, like, when I think about it, the education I got, and I didn't ever plan to be a coach. When I think about being with Emmanuel Stewart, being with Sugar Hill, being with Joey Gamache, being with Adam Booth, Gary Logan, Darren Chandler Kazooie, and before that, the Repton Boxing Club in London, St. Francis Boxing Club, then with the Irish national team, Zoranti, who's bred so many Olympic champions, Billy Walsh, who's now the USA amateur coach, Nicholas Cruz Hernandez, all of these like great coaches. And I got to be with them, be trained by them, and all the time you're picking things up. And then also my own education as a fighter, being in that, I think that makes it I'm very, very lucky to have lived the life I've lived, and always looking to learn and hungry for knowledge, and even now still improving and trying to improve all the time, looking where I can get an edge on anything.
Well, it's been amazing to watch.
Wow.
And again, congratulations on all your success. Front runner for Trainer of the Year. I know you don't care about any of this stuff. The success of the fighter. Okay, maybe you do. Okay, it is well earned and deserved, and we hope it continues. And I hope that Paddy Donovan fight goes your way. Obviously, wish you guys the best, and we'll see what's next for Ben, and of course for Joe and Hamza. A lot of exciting things going on for you in the gym. So thank you so much, Andy. Really appreciate the time. It was great to have you on.
Cheers, Andy.
Thank you.